I thought 2026 was going to look very different than this. I moved to Dallas with a plan. I had a job. I had my sights set on dating again. Hey, I had my weight loss goals set. And I thought I really knew what this year was going to look like. But then you know what? Life changed those plans. And so maybe that happened to you too. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you had planned on being in a relationship that you were in last year. Maybe you were going to work on your finances, or maybe you were planning on going back to school. And then life started life. So now that we're halfway through the year, instead of beating myself up and focusing on all the things that I didn't do, I decided to ask myself questions in order to reset. And I want you to ask yourself those questions too. Questions that made me realize, am I trying to force January's goals into July's reality? And so maybe instead of trying to hold on to the plan that I had set out for myself in January, that is trying to create a new one in order to reset. So let's get into it. By the way, this is Rainey, and this is the Thriving with Rainey channel. The first question I had to ask myself is, what am I really proud of this year? And as I share with you what I'm proud of, I want you to start thinking about what you're proud of. Not in the context of what can I check off on my list, not in the context of what goals did I achieve or what accomplishments I made. I want you to think about it differently, and I want you to celebrate the small wins that you achieved this year. For me, am I proud of the fact that I was able to handle losing my job without falling apart? Yes. Am I proud of myself for navigating unemployment and all of the paperwork and everything that went along with that? Yes. Yes, I am. Am I proud of the fact that I am in Dallas pretty much alone and I'm navigating my new life here and I'm trying to build a network for myself? Yes. Yes, I am. Am I proud of the fact that I keep having conversations and networking and joining different groups to put myself out there? And so sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that we're doing on a day-to-day, those small wins, because there's no trophy. No one's going to send you flowers. There's no certificate. And so we kind of just write those things off because to us, it seems that they aren't things that are accomplishments. But my friend, I'm telling you that they are. I'm here to tell you that you made it through and you're continuing to make it through. So before we start making a list of everything that we didn't do and all the things that went wrong, I want you, if you have to pause this video and I want you to write down all of the things that you're proud of that you have accomplished this year. Maybe it's a conversation that you were afraid to have. Maybe it's a relationship that you left. Maybe you're in the middle of something difficult, but you keep going. Maybe it's simply that you're here. You did it. You didn't quit. You didn't give up on yourself. So before we start talking about resetting for the rest of the year, I want you and need you to acknowledge that you've already made it through. So I want to make sure that you put down what you're most proud of in the comments field. Put it in the comments field right now, because as y'all know, I'm always in the comments talking to y'all. And we want to celebrate. I want to make sure that I love on you. And I hope you've taken a moment, even if you had to pause this video, because I know most of you are watching it on your cell phones, but you pause, whether you're on the train, whether you're in your car, you write it on a sticky somewhere. You say it out loud. I am really proud of myself. So now that things have changed, we have to now change with it, right? Sometimes we treat our life like a binding contract. Like we can't change anything that we set out to do, that like we are binded to a specific plan. And we have to understand that our lives have evolved and have changed. And so we have to change with it. So, what we really need to ask ourselves is, what still matters and what needs to change? So I had to ask myself, Rainey, what really matters and what really needs to change? And am I holding on to a system or a process or a statement or something that I said I was going to do in January when my life looks so much different in July? No, I had to evolve my thinking and really think about what needs to change. So, using myself as an example, I had to change the way I thought about job searching, right? You know, if you've been following my channel, and if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe right now, that I had approached job searching with going out there, going on LinkedIn, going on Indeed.com, application, application, application. And then as I started to network and talk to different recruiters and get out there and started to, put myself out there and meet different people, I learned and I pivoted and changed to the fact that one of the key ways that I'm going to be able to find work, especially in Dallas, is to network. And so I want you to think about your own life and think about what needs to change. And that, your life shouldn't be one big giant waiting room, right? Where you're waiting on something big to happen. That you can make a small change. I always talk about one doable step, but now it's one doable step or a series of small steps that you're going to have to take to pivot to mirror the change that you want to see in the second half of this year. So, what I want to talk to you about next is so important. And I'm so fired up about this video because a lot of times we get to this part of the year and we're like, screw it. I'm just going to wait for next year, right? No, no, we have so many more months ahead of us. There's so much that we can be doing. So, I want you to think about this really, really deeply. And it sort of touches a chord with me as well, because I really had to think about this. I want to say about a month ago, I started thinking about this. And that was, what am I looking forward to? Like, what am I really looking forward to? So, when life becomes uncertain and circumstances change and things happen, sometimes we can accidentally build our life around that problem or solving that problem. So, in my case, when I lost my job, my whole world could have just been about job searching, right? It could have been about waking up every day and putting in applications. What jobs were posted today? What recruiters do I need to follow up with? Did I get a rejection letter? And make my whole life around job searching. And then I realized I don't want to wake up every morning just thinking about job searching and all the things that I have to do to find a new job. I needed something on my calendar that didn't have to do with just fixing my life. So I had to take action, right? I became a group leader for this organization called Girl Trek. You might have heard of it, and it's a wonderful, vibrant organization that focuses on Black women's health. I just did a volunteer project with Black Chamber of Commerce and JP Morgan Chase to hand out food. Food instability was a part of my earlier life and strikes a chord with me. Hunger is something that, I like to volunteer in because I really can authentically understand and empathize with folks that are in food insecure right now. And so I just did a project in June and in May. I'm going to do two projects volunteering in July. I just came back from Houston. I hung out with some New Yorkers who were excited about the New York Knicks winning. So I hung out with those folks and made some friends. And then I went to party at a dance hall Jamaican club. So I had to think about, what do I want my life to look like besides the current problems that I'm having? Yes, I'm looking forward to finding a new job. And yes, I'm hoping to find employment. But that's not the only aspect of my life. So I want to challenge you to think about, what are you looking forward to? Maybe you're going through a divorce and now everything has become about this divorce papers and the attorneys, and maybe you're going through a custody battle. Maybe you're dealing with a health issue and everything has become about lab reports and test results and doctor's appointments. And those are all real things. But I'm not asking you to think about the next goal or adding something to your already probably pretty filled calendar. I'm asking you, what are you looking forward to? And maybe if you can't think of anything, my friend, maybe that's the information you need. Maybe that is the reset for you to begin to think about not the problem, not life's day-to-day problems. And we all have them, but what are you looking forward to? And it doesn't have to be something expensive. It could be taking a class. It could be working on a creative project. It could be having lunch with someone who you that you've lost touch with who really brings you joy. It could be going someplace new in your own city. My friend, what are you looking forward to? And I would absolutely lean into that to reset for the rest of 2026. So if this video resonates with you, I want you to share this video because we all know somebody who is paralyzed by, I've got to do goal setting and I've got to get a planner. And trust me, that used to be the way that I got down. And in certain parts of my life, yeah, I do have a plan. You've all seen my job search plan, but we're talking about living. We're talking about life. We're talking about the rest of 2026 because, baby, the first half of 2026 may be over, but we still have the rest of 2026. Your story for 2026 is not over. You still have time to change direction. You still have time to take that one doable step to pivot in the aim of change because of life circumstance. You still get to pause and think about, man, what am I looking forward to each day? Because as Lenny Kravitz's song said, baby, it ain't over. It ain't over till it's over. So what are you going to work on for the rest of the year? What are you excited about? Go in the comments field. Tell me. I want to hear from you. You've heard from me. I want to know, what are you going to be working on? And if you're the kind of person that really wants to maybe get a grasp on time management and you realize that I'm just a procrastinator, I've been wasting time, or I'm not quite sure where my time is going, I'm going to link a video here that I want you to watch. It's one of my earlier videos, but it's one that really got a lot of views because it's about getting your time back, reclaiming your time back, right? So definitely stay tuned for that video that's coming up next. And I love you. I know that the rest of this year is going to be dope. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. There's going to be so many changes coming to my channel. So make sure that you are subscribed. And I look forward to chatting with you in the comments field. God bless. Take care. And I'll see you soon.